Russia issues a nuclear warning to the United States. I'll give you the details here in this video, as well as you won't believe what top Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has to say about the shutdown and healthcare, as well as a judge blocks President Donald Trump's troops. I'll show you the details here also. And Trump's transportation secretary is urging airport transport controllers to show up to work because it's getting dangerous for flights. All that and more in this video. So we'll go over the details. Let's jump right in. We are live right now here on the YouTube It's Jimmy Show. Let me know if you can see and hear me. Type yes in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. You can let me know your city, state, or even your country, as we have people tuning in here from all around the globe. Don't forget to hit that like button for me here. It really helps out the channel. And if you haven't yet, subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos. I will keep you up to date and help me reach 500,000 subscribers. Take a look here. Okay, first up, Russia issues a nuclear warning to the United States, saying, quote, "We will retaliate immediately." Things are not looking good with Russia at all. If you've been watching my channel, we're reporting stuff that you don't hear on the mainstream news, and this is one of them. Russia has issued a new warning that it will retaliate if any country, particularly the United States, resumes nuclear testing, according to Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rybkov. Speaking to reporters and the State Duma, Rybkov accused Washington of maintaining nuclear testing infrastructure in a state of readiness and signaled that Moscow is closely monitoring the United States' actions. Makes you wonder how they're monitoring our actions. Think about that. The comments follow Russian President Vladimir Putin's remarks after the Vadali International Discussion Club, where he suggests that preparations for nuclear tests were underway elsewhere. Quote, "If a country with the capability makes the erroneous decision to conduct nuclear tests, and Washington is clearly in our focus, then we will retaliate immediately," Russia and Vladimir Putin said. Yikes. This statement marks a significant escalation in nuclear rhetoric between the two of the world's most number one and number two nuclear powers, and maybe you throw China in there as well, which is more on Russia's side than they are the U.S.'s. Russia's threat of retaliation and its withdrawal from key arms control agreements signal a deteriorating strategic relationship with the U.S. These developments could undermine decades of nuclear non-proliferation efforts and heighten global security risks, particularly as existing treaties approach expiration. This comes as Ukraine is seriously pushing for long-range Tomahawk missiles that can strike deep into Russia. And Russia is seriously concerned about these because Ukraine would be able to take out significant military targets, energy grid targets, and a lot of targets inside of Russia. President Zelensky said that Ukraine would nominate President Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize if the U.S. provides the Tomahawks. And they may do that because President Donald Trump has just been defied by Vladimir Putin at pretty much every step here lately. But Russia has warned it will retaliate to hurt Washington if the Tomahawks are sent to Ukraine. And, well, this is where things get sticky because, Russia is saying we're going to hold anybody accountable who provides this stuff to Ukraine, including the United States and President Donald Trump. But President Donald Trump is saying, well, we're asking you for peace, we're asking you for a ceasefire, and you're just simply ignoring it. You're not doing anything towards a ceasefire or stopping that war, and it's been 3.5 years, and what's going on, bro? It's just literally not happening. So it makes you think that they want to continue this war for some strange reason. And there's been some rhetoric going around that escalation of war could lead to other things like China joining in or China trying to take Taiwan while Russia continues its war. And you guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but that would kind of make some sense on why Russia doesn't want to end the war, because it would complicate things. And then, how could the world possibly defend those major things going on at the same time and then try to defend against China, which China's got over 1 billion people and is another major, massive nuclear power, significantly more massive than Russia, as Russia's been struggling with just Ukraine over the last 3.5 years. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has been deploying troops, National Guard, into the United States here, into multiple cities here, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Portland, of which all of these cities are not very happy. And, we're now starting to see judges blocking the Trump administration from using force against even journalists in these cities. The latest ruling in Chicago, a judge in Illinois has blocked the Trump administration from using force against journalists after a lawsuit accused federal agents of using excessive force, including tear gas, against reporters covering everything going on in Chicago. I mean, wow. Tear gas against reporters. The federal judge ruled that the federal authorities cannot use tear gas, pepper spray, and other weapons against journalists, and that the agents are enjoined from dispersing, arresting, threatening, or using physical violence against anyone they know to be a journalist. This comes after a group of Chicago journalists had sued the government over the actions of federal agents against reporters covering all of these news stories. Meanwhile, the government shutdown has caused significant problems, including airport transportation, where you can see it here, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy urging air traffic controllers to even show up for work, saying they need to go to their jobs because they're not getting paid. Take a listen here.
Encouraging air traffic controllers to show up for work. They need to go to their jobs. They need to, control the airspace. The problem is, when I've talked to them, they are stressed out. They are wondering, how do they put food on the table? How do they pay their mortgages if their paycheck doesn't come through? And so, again, you have, these different blips in staffing throughout the NAS, the National Airspace. And so if you look back to the last 9 months, Jake, delays were caused by about 5% of staffing shortages in towers. Today, 53% of the delays are coming from not enough staff in our facilities. And so, again, we're having maybe a bit of a rebellion by air traffic controllers caused by the shutdown. But my message to them, they work for me. They got to go to work, show up, control the airspace, and eventually you're going to get paid.
Imagine your employer telling you that. Well, show up, go to work, and eventually you'll get paid. We hope. Who knows how long it'll be. Too bad about your mortgage payment, your car payment, your rent, buying food, health payments, anything like that. Eventually you'll get paid. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know if this is affecting you, because there's millions of people this is affecting: military members, air traffic controllers, any federal government employee, or a lot of them. There's a lot of people this is affecting. Meanwhile, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a surely outspoken House representative, actually spoke out here against the Republicans today, making headline news in favor of health care. And the reason this is big news is because this is one of the main reasons preventing the government from coming back from a shutdown, because Democrats want these healthcare subsidies because they say it's raising healthcare for millions of Americans, and Republicans don't want to fund it. So take a listen to what she has to say.
One of the most controversial members of Congress, Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, usually draws the ire of Democrats, but now she's speaking out against some in her own party and coming out in favor of what Democrats demand to reopen the government, an extension of enhanced health care subsidies.
Congresswoman Greene, thank you for joining us here in the Situation Room. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start there. Let's start with the shutdown. So you voted for the short-term funding bill, but now you're talking about this health care issue. Help us better understand. Why now?
Well, actually, this is something I talked about when I first ran for Congress in 2020, because I grew up in a construction company family. Bought that company after college and retired my parents. And after the ACA was passed,
The Affordable Care Act.
yes, the Affordable Care Act, our family's health insurance premium went from $800 a month to $2,400 a month. So I've known about this as a major problem for a long time. It's not just ACA recipients whose premiums are going to skyrocket very soon. It has been a disaster for many Americans across the board. And cost of living is so high now. Many of my constituents, many of my friends, and even my own children are finding health insurance to be extremely unaffordable and something that they are having to go without. So I think this is an incredibly important issue. I think it is a crisis. I don't think it's something to wear political party team jerseys on. I think it's something that we have to address and fix.
And it's very personal for you.
Very personal. It's affected my own life. And the Affordable Care Act was passed in 2010. So we're 15 years down the road, and the industry has changed drastically. Many companies dropped out of the market. We've seen doctors stop having their own practices and become hospital employees. We now have to import doctors because we don't have enough. Healthcare has drastically changed, and I'm one of those that gets real tired of political drama when it's not actually solving a problem. And this is such a crisis that I'm willing to say, okay, everyone, we have to do something about this. It shouldn't be something that we dangle the American people or military pay or all of these things. We shouldn't be dangling them back and forth. We have to fix it.
What are you hearing from your constituents right now? And do you have any regrets about voting for that short-term continuing resolution, that spending bill?
Thank you for that question. Number one, I am a Republican, and I support the president. I was very vocal about I didn't want to vote for a CR. I want to pass our appropriations. That's our constitutional duty, and I want to bring that taxpayer dollars back to my district. I work hard on that, so that was important to me. But I support the president, and I voted for the CR. Number two, what am I hearing from my constituents? It's great. We track all the calls that come into my office. About 60% of the calls coming in right now are calls of support and saying, yes, health insurance is a crisis. They're telling us stories about how they're already paying $2,000 a month with $10,000 deductibles. I'm getting phone calls from people that are saying if the ACA tax credits expire, they aren't going to be able to have health insurance. They're going to have to drop it. But I'm hearing from people on both sides, people already on the ACA and people that are already getting crushed by high health insurance premiums.
I want to ask you about this new Washington Post poll. It shows that 47% of Americans believe that President Trump and the Republicans are mainly responsible for the shutdown. You see it here on the screen, compared to just 30% of Americans who blame Democrats. Of course, Republicans are the ones with the power. Do you agree with Americans in that poll that see the shutdown as your party's fault?
You know what? I don't think the shutdown is popular for either side. And so I see the shutdown completely different from maybe my party leadership. And I'm not putting the blame on the president. I'm actually putting the blame on the speaker and Leader Thune in the Senate. This should not be happening. And I don't think, look, as a member of Congress, we already have a low enough job approval rating. This shutdown is just going to drive everybody's approval rating that much lower.
But so you're putting the blame on the leadership of your party.
Absolutely. We control the House. We control the Senate. We have the White House. I've been vocal saying, you can use the nuclear option in the Senate. This doesn't have to be a shutdown. But what we have to do is we have to work for the American people. And our country is so divided right now. We see it all the time in every single way. It's divided in what I would say very dangerous ways. And we saw that with the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk, which has upset so many people across the board. And look, when it comes to hearing from senior citizens or my own friends and neighbors and my own family members and people that voted for me, and they're just saying, Marjorie, we just really want somebody to do something about health insurance premiums. We really want our government and our leaders to actually focus on our country for a change and fix our problems. That is the message I constantly hear from my district, and I'm a representative. I don't have to be a cheerleader for my party. I have to represent my district because those are the people that hired me and sent me here. And I agree with them.
Wow, who would have thought Marjorie Taylor Greene, being the super voice of reason there. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But man, healthcare is very expensive. I've been saying that for years on my channel. We pay thousands of dollars for our family. It's just unbelievable. And the deductibles are insane. And they just go up every year, just over and over and over and over. And it feels like these healthcare companies just get away with everything. They just charge whatever they want because it feels just like they have a monopoly. You have to get healthcare or else you're SOL, and something's got to give, right? So you got to kind of wonder here, what do you want the government to spend the tax money, the tax dollars that they bring in? What do you want the government to spend them on? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I will keep you up to date. If you haven't yet, subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos. Click the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live, and share this video with other people so they get this information. Share this video on social media. Click this video to see the Pentagon saying prepare for war, or click here to see a Social Security raise announcement. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.